Hello, friends. Welcome to the Evolve with Latoya show. I have my special guest here, Vanessa, who is going to introduce herself in a moment. I'm just going to share on some other pages.
Hello. We're here. We're live.
Yes. If you are joining us, share where you're watching from. What state are you in? Vanessa and I are both currently in Connecticut, although she is not native born Connecticut like I am, unfortunately. Hey, Erica.
Fortunately.
Yes. That's a whole thing. I'm not bashing Connecticut. It's just, I'm not gonna get sidetracked.
Chantel says she's in Connecticut. Hey, CT.
Hey, Erica is in, I think, South Carolina.
Okay.
Correct me if I'm wrong. I'm not good with remembering where folks are from. We're talking about marriage today. One of my favorite topics. I have to warn y'all, I may be a little bit silly, giddy. This is one of my very favorite things to talk about. Oh, good. It is South Carolina. Nice.
Okay. So let me know if you want me to go ahead and introduce myself.
One moment.
Okay.
One moment. I just am checking one other platform just to make sure. So we are live on YouTube and on my LinkedIn page.
Okay.
I'm so happy about the time change. I don't know if anyone saw my story last night. I was walking
at the time change or the daylight savings, like the fact that we have
yes, the daylight
Please
savings.
Don't say the time change.
The daylight savings brings me so much joy. It's nothing like when I have a long day and I'm able to walk after.
Yeah.
It brings me so much joy. I know we've talked about the walking thing, but seriously, I didn't have that during the winter months. Sometimes I would
It is
walk.
challenging.
Yeah.
Yes, it is.
Are you getting back on track with that?
The whole losing 1 hour, it's a no. It's a no for me. It's a no. But I think a week into it now I'm like, hey. Yeah. So
yeah, it's okay. I just was making sure we're live on YouTube.
Okay.
Yeah, it brings me so much joy. So I'm gonna jump right in. So first, I love to just share a little bit about why I chose this topic. And for those of you who don't know me, I'm Latoya Watson, a licensed therapist, speaker, and wellness consultant. And I love speaking about healthy relationships and healthy boundaries. And so this topic is really special to me. One, because married women like Vanessa have helped me grow in becoming what I think a strong wife, in the future when I get married. And so married women have really been essential to me evolving.
Mm-hmm.
And so anyways, Vanessa is soon going to share how many years she's been married and so forth. But I just wanted to share a little bit about how being friends and being connected with married women and women who do marriage healthy, right? That can look different. Also, I think that's important. Any singles watching, which I see some singles watching, it's essential. I'm going to point that out. Get connected with married women who do marriage healthy. We'll talk more about what that means for me. But please go ahead and introduce yourself, all the different hats you wear.
So my name is Vanessa Ajiduah, and I am a businesswoman. I'm also an author. I've created and curated a magazine under my organization called Meant for Her. And just yesterday I released my first ebook, but there'll be more and more things I'm going to be writing. I've always been a writer. So
Congrats.
businesswoman, author, speaker. I do speak, and I'm also a minister, and I'm a mom, and I'm a wife. So I do wear multiple hats, and sometimes I'm a teacher at home. So there's a lot of things that I do as a woman.
Yes, yes. So honored to have her. And again, I shared in the post that I think this conversation will be different because of your different life experiences. And I like to call her a unicorn because she does all these things and does it well, right? There's no, in my opinion, there's no such thing as perfection, but she wears these hats with excellence. I just want to brag on her because I think she's so dope.
Thank you, Latoya.
Yes, yes. I like to also say, please drop your questions. We will try to get to it. I'm getting better with checking in on questions and comments during a certain time so I don't get too distracted, y'all, because if you have watched me before, sometimes we can get off track, and I don't want to get off track because there's a lot of things that I want us to focus on. And Vanessa, did you share how many years you've been married? I don't know if
I did not. 12 years, 2 months ago.
Okay, nice, nice. I just want the viewers to also know, like, you're not a newlywed. You do have some skin in the game.
12 years of skin in the game. Yes, yes.
Yes. Okay. Where would you like to start? I like to free flow. We didn't practice, y'all. This is an organic conversation.
I think let's talk about how marriage is perceived, right?
Yes.
I think sometimes people have negative perspective on marriages, or even a fairy tale perspective. Right. So there's a fairy tale perspective, and then there is 12 years, and also there's the negative perspective, right? There's what we see on the media, right? Just put it in total.
Social media, yeah.
In media, you see so much negativity, or you see the fairy tale weddings, right? But no one really takes you behind the scenes or tells you the truth. So I think we're going to do some of that today.
Yeah.
So feel free, drop your comments in there. I will answer.
Yeah. The fairy tale. Let's go there a little bit. I think I used to be there. I felt even in my late 20s, early 30s, I felt that what marriage was going to look like was me receiving a lot of serving.
Okay. Being loved on and just like butterflies in your stomach.
Yes. Talk a little bit. That's a good segue into serving on both sides.
So for me, I think the fairy tale is something that it's not realistic, right? But it's real. There is falling in love, and then there's loving, right? It's two different things, right? Falling in love is like the courting stage, the dating stage, and you have the butterflies, and you have this dream, how my wedding is going to be, how this is going to be, how my home is going to be. And you have all these grandiose expectations, right? So that's the fairy tale stage, I think. And early in the marriage, you could still have that fairy tale stage. But then there's loving, there's being in a marriage and loving someone, right?
And is that, so that makes me think about like unconditional love, selfless love, like agape love.
Right.
Someone asked me a question, like, it wasn't really a question, it was an assumption. He's like, I don't know if women are designed to be able or taught how to show agape love. He believes men are more, and even some scriptures that call men more to love their wives as Christ loved the church, right? But women are not called to love a man. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yes.
There are scriptures.
I always tell people, when you think about love, that scripture is very solid. That talks about how a man should love his wife, right? It's a
Yeah.
sacrificial love. So I think maybe what he's talking more about is that sacrificial love that, and if I were to go there, I think society has warped what marriage should be and has kind of flipped it. I think women do the loving, are doing what the men are called to do. And the men are like, okay, so what am I supposed to be doing? Yeah. Right. So if the man is called to love the wife as Christ loved the church, that's a deep love. Yeah. That's a sacrificial love. That's a love that puts their life on the line for you. Right. So even non-Christians, I mean, that's a love that is just an overwhelming love, a love that's always there, just that captivates you all the time. Right. But if you think about talking about the fairy tale, right?
And maybe that's why I had this view. Yes. Like a man should be just loving on me all the time and serving me.
Well,
I don't have that view anymore.
Well, there's that. We're gonna talk about the servant part, right? But when you have it flipped like that, where women are the ones doing the love, and I think it has a lot to do with the way society has portrayed what marriage should be like, especially in the Western cultures, right? Yeah. In other cultures, like the culture I come from, men are expected to be the ones chasing. They're expected to be the ones loving you. They're expected to be the ones.
What's wrong with that?
Just, really pouring their all into a relationship, and a woman is there to submit, to support, to raise a family, to love him, but in a different way. And I think we can talk about that a little more later.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. Thank you. Yes, Cameron, thank you for dropping the scripture. Yeah. So going back to the whole fairy tale thing. Yeah. And maybe that's where some of my beliefs came from. But you brought up another point. There are a lot of negative views about marriage. And I've been hearing, and someone even said to me, like, can you talk about that? And I was just like, well, we'll see. Men and women are wondering what are the true benefits of marriage. And I've never questioned that. Yeah, you have some thoughts about that.
Certainly. So doing life with another person is an amazing experience. Yeah. An amazing experience when it's done right and when it's with the right person. And what do I mean by the right person? When you and the person are compatible, when there's chemistry, there's love. And when I say love, like true love, not, the fairy tale feel good, right? When I'm in the valley, can you love me? When I'm in a very low place, can you still love me?
When I'm not feeling my best.
Right. When I'm not feeling my best, looking my best, can you still love me? But loving, marriage is a beautiful thing. Yeah. It's when done right, when it's with the right person, the person who gets you, I think, yes, it is worth it. Yeah. Right. To your question.
Life with your BFF is a life game.
Yes.
So, and for me as a single Vanessa, I'm like, I know marriage, there will be challenges, right? But I'm like, at least I get to go through these challenges with someone. Doing life alone, and when challenges come up, like, I don't know if you saw my story, I'm like using a drill outside my house. I'm like doing all sorts of things. I can't see other challenges coming up that would be more challenging than what I'm going through now. Because I'm doing it alone, or I have to keep reaching out for help, or I have to keep paying someone to help me to do something.
And that's why I say it's a gift, right? Yeah. It truly is. When two become one, you have help, you have support. Yeah. You have a listening ear, you have a fixer-upper, right? And it could be either way. So I know Latoya is a princess, right? In the terms of she, and that's okay, right? And that's okay. You may not be the handy person, and I'm not handy at all, right? Even my husband's not handy, by the way, FYI, but he had to learn because I'm like, sir, I can't carry this drill. I don't know what to do. So he kind of had to learn how to do that.
Talking about a princess, she's not even
I am a princess too, so I'm not ashamed. But no, seriously, like just having that extra help, that support system that's with you, that loves you. I think it's as Cameron said, doing life with your BFF, your bae, it's a game changer. I think
a huge
back
benefit.
to your point about like some people saying, well, what's the benefit or what's the point? I think that's coming from a place of, maybe hurt. Or a place of disappointment, or maybe some trauma or some experience in their childhood, right? It looks like Carl said, yes, princess. So, and maybe we can talk about that. For me, going into marriage, I also fantasized and had a fairy tale idea in my head because we got married so young, right? I'm 36 and we got married in my 20s, right? We both were in our 20s. I was early 20s. He was later 20s. And, just thinking about going into it with that perspective of I didn't see it modeled. So there was some fear. So I think when people have that fear of something, they kind of like put a label on it, like, well, I don't know, marriage isn't, maybe it's not for me. Maybe it's not all it's made out to be. Maybe it's not, So I think it's coming from that place initially. Definitely. But once you've experienced good marriage, right?
Or witnessed it.
Then you have a different perspective of it. Well, there's one thing about witnessing and experiencing, it's totally different. Because you can witness marriage, but until you've been married and gone through the experience,
I can't.
You just can't. You won't be able to understand it. But for someone who has been married for a while, I would say it's a beautiful thing. When it's done well. And we'll talk about the serving. Maybe we should even talk about that. When people serve one another, it makes it beautiful.
Yeah. Do you mind sharing or giving an example of what that has looked like for you too?
So serving your spouse looks different in different phases of life. So if we were to say, okay, so 12 years when we first got married, right? We're having babies. That looks totally different. Serving your spouse at that point in time is, okay, honey, you sleep. And, I'll take care of the baby. Okay, you sleep and I'll take care of the baby. That's serving, right? Then there comes a time where, maybe the kids are older. You don't have that phase of your life anymore. Now serving may look a little different because, okay, let's prioritize each other's desires or goals or dreams. Like I like to golf. Right?
I'm learning.
So we're both learning, right? And I like to golf. So, hubby will, him serving me is he goes out and he buys my equipment. Down to shoes, down to everything, right? Because he's, guys know athletic stuff, right? So he'll go out and he'll like say, okay, I know this is something you want to do. And I'm a businesswoman. It's important for me to be able to show up at the golf course and maybe have a business meeting there. So he serving me is him showing up for me in areas that maybe I lack, right? That I may not be strong at. I don't know how to buy athletic things like, but he does that, right? So, and then for me, serving him in this stage of our lives now is, hey, honey, what do you want to do career-wise? And as you know me, I'm a go-getter. So
he supports
my husband's very supportive and has always been there to say, hey, you want to jump on a plane and go to China tomorrow? Go ahead. Like truly, if you want to go and speak in Texas, go ahead. So now we're in a phase in our life where he's now saying, oh, I think I have these desires and I think I have these goals. So now my service to him is, okay, honey, how do we do this? Let's make it happen. I think you should go ahead and do it. Do you want me to, I'm more of the savvy business person. So do you want me to open up, secure the domain for you so you have the business name taken care of, like things like that. But also showing up in the areas that you're strong at and your partner's not necessarily strong at.
Can someone put that in the chat? That's so good.
So like, for example, I'm more financially savvy in terms of like using an Excel spreadsheet and things like that. So he'll let me, like, he just says, okay, go ahead. So I do all the budgeting, I do all the bill paying. Not that he doesn't know how to do that if something happens, but I serve him in that way, and I'm okay with that. So
Yeah.
even though
you enjoy it,
and I enjoy it, like
yeah.
I can take off my corporate hat and my multi-serialpreneur
You
hat
got to teach a class on that, because
and be a wife.
I think that is a real struggle. And I say that with love. I think it is a real struggle. I really do. And so I think sometimes women are feeling forced that they have to choose one or the other.
Well, it's a real concern, and I think we should talk about it.
Yeah.
I remember, so I won't sit here and say, there's the statement, can women have it all, right?
Yeah, I know.
So if we were to anchor this conversation on that and say, okay, can women have it all? Because women most times will say, well, I can't be a corporate woman and then come home and cook and then you called me a unicorn, right? So I bake, I cook, I clean.
She enjoys
I do all these things. Well, there are days where I don't, but for most part I do, right? So the thing is this, what I've come to understand with marriage is when it comes to having it all, having a support system is important. So I have a support system. So I've always had, help around me. But I would say women who kind of are concerned about doing both, it depends on what they value and what's important to them. For me, I didn't have it modeled. My parents weren't married. But I knew that it's something I wanted. And I know the other side of it when things go wrong and what happens to the children involved. So from day one, I was like, look, I don't care what happens. This marriage needs to work. Yeah. Right. And I put that value and that emphasis. So irrespective of the different seasons I find myself in, whether I'm traveling all the time for a period of time for work, right? So I used to be in corporate America, and I mean, as a global director, you're literally
about that. Like every show, I'm learning and evolving just along with y'all. So I say that to say, because I again, I don't want to minimize anybody's struggle. I just I really want folks to seek professional help. I really think that is essential to get to the place of being transparent and vulnerable and naked with yourself. Right. I don't think we can do it alone. I think in a world that has so many distractions, we do need to step back and seek help.
I agree.
Yeah,
I agree.
So where can people find you? I didn't even share. Do you want to share any upcoming or anything you're working on?
Yeah, so be on the lookout for my book. I just released an ebook called 7 Steps to Stop Sitting on the Sidelines.
I love that.
I'm going to be doing more series on that, actually, because it's something dear to my heart. I really want to impact and touch women, especially women, because of the work I do at Men for Her.
Yeah.
I want women who are sitting on the sideline, just watching others do what they want to do. Like, they need to come out of that place, right? So I'm going to be doing some series on that. But you can find me. I'm on LinkedIn, Vanessa Ajiduah, and that's spelled Ajiduah, and that's D as in dog. And you can find me on Instagram. I'm also on Instagram. I'm also on Facebook, but mostly if you can find me on Instagram, LinkedIn. And if you need to get in touch with me directly, either for business or speaking or workshops or things like that, I'm a business consultant as well. You can reach me at vsamu@thevsaco.com. So that's my business email.
Say your email again.
So it is VSAMU at thevsaco.com.
VSAMU.co.com. Wait.
.com, yes.
Oh.
At the, yep.
Got it.
VSACO.
Oh, I thought I heard that. .com.
Yep, without the MU. So my name isn't spelled out without the M.
Oh, just A?
Yep.
Oh, okay. CO.
VVSACO.com.
Thank you.
So they can reach me there as well.
Yeah, and again, I'm Latoya Watson. I am on LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram. I am at Single Ladies Coaching and EMDR Intensives. Please again reach out if you have questions, comments, thoughts. If you are looking for a therapist, please, I can send referrals. I'm no longer seeing people one-on-one. I'm very excited about going into providing more wellness workshops and conferences. I'm sharing
Yes.
that with y'all. I haven't shared that publicly, but so excited about just making a larger impact. Again, I think these conversations are needed, and I thank my host so very much. Please show her some love in the chat. She was amazing, had so many gems. I'm gonna have to watch the replay to catch everything. Oh my goodness. Thank you, Tanya.
Thank you, Tanya.
It's yeah, it really was needed, but
maybe next time a workshop.
I know if you feel led to, I know you have so many things going on, but I am wishing you all well. And my hope and prayer is that you continue to evolve with me. Take care, friends.
Take care.